harvest time on the Rossi family farm at Aloomba in the Wet Tropics. This is the region where green cane harvesting began in Queensland. Cane trash is just like garden mulch. It replenishes the soil and prevents erosion of soil and nutrient into waterways as the ratoon crop re-establishes. Trash blanketing is just one of the ways the Rossi brothers are improving the quality of the water that leaves their farms. Today, our virtual bus tour will see how Landcare projects are helping cane growers stabilise riverbanks and farm drains in this high rainfall region. Our first stop is a tall stand of plantation timber on the banks of the Mulgrave River.
This little plot we're in here, it's about an acre, and 25 years ago there were just cane shorts in here. Some of them were only 10 metres long, and it was a bit of a pain in the neck and never to harvest. We originally planted up about half of it, and then over the years we've just kept expanding it, and so we've provided a little habitat in this little corner here. In this acre there's over 1,500 trees.
Tony Rossi chairs the Mulgrave Landcare and Catchment Group. He and his brother Chris have been Landcare volunteers for years, a passion they inherited from their father, who grew plantation timber and handed down his love of nature.
My family, the Rossis, have been farming on this bend of the Mulgrave River for about 80 years, and I guess that might have influenced our psyche to a certain extent. Physically living so close to the river and in this beautiful valley, we all learnt to love nature pretty early. We see it as part of our core business with our cane farming, that we not only want to be productive cane farmers, but be good stewards of the environment.
Replanting degraded creek banks and drains begins in the Rossi family's plant nursery. Chris is an eager green thumb and has learnt a lot about local tree species since joining Landcare.
Well, these are predominantly river cherry, a syzygium that grows on the Mulgrave and most of the northern rivers. These are ones we potted up with our Landcare group, a few of the other members of the community, and we just grow them here in this dappled light for a few years. We eventually move them into the sun and sun harden them until they're much the size of these other bigger ones we see over here. About a year till they're ready to get planted along the creeks. We started growing a few of our own trees with the Landcare group because funding is getting a bit tight, and some of these trees are this size, you often pay $5-6 for a seedling like that. Our group's been able to pot up thousands of them, save a lot of money. We use all local seed and provenance trees, and we just encourage our members to grow them, and it's a good hobby for a lot of the older people too. They like to give something back.
Together with a dedicated group of Landcare volunteers, the Rossis have spent years planting. On their home farm there's a strong focus on revegetating creeks that carry fast-flowing water down from the towering Bellenden Kerr range. In the wet season, these creeks carry huge volumes of water, and bank erosion can be a major issue.
We've got a planting here that's about 3 or 4 months old, mainly river cherries and other local species along our creek here, one of our boundary creeks. We're just encouraging it to revegetate, helps hold the bank.
Like any garden, newly planted trees require some TLC.
Well, these ones here, they'll take about 3 or 4 years of managing. We've got to keep a lot of this grass and stuff down. The trees behind us, naturally grown, they're about 10 to 20 years old. But pretty well 5 years' time you'll have full sort of canopy in here, and pretty well looks after itself.
Planting trees along drains does create management challenges. In a wet area like this, farmers need deep drains, so seepage pipes that empty into the drains can take water away from the cane paddocks quickly. A barrier of trees along a drain makes it difficult to remove silt that builds up during rainfall events, so the solution is sediment traps.
What we've got here is a sediment trap that we constructed about 15 years ago. And the idea was, because we have been growing trees on our creek, and we also need very deep drainage on this wet farm, so we decided we had to construct a few of these spots where we could dig this gravel out and stop the big slugs of sand and sediment moving into our treed areas. So we formed this little rock structure you see up here. It's about a 100-metre section here that we excavate every year, and we'll get 20 to 30 truckloads of this very coarse gravel from up the mountain area. We use it around the farm, and it avoids it going down into the 2 or 3 k's of creek system that we've treed up.
Areas surrounding access points for silt removal are being planted with lamandra, a native riverine grass species with strong soil-binding qualities. And downstream, the results are obvious. The trees have stabilised the creek bank, and what was once a weed-infested drain is now a functional, natural ecosystem.
The first thing you can see is that it's very well shaded here, so because there's not much light getting through, there's very little weed growing here, and so the stream stays fairly clear. Before these river cherries established, we used to have to spray, and we're always backhoeing silt out of this. Now with our silt trap collecting most of the silt that comes down in the floods, we've largely been able to keep all the sand and silt out, and the beauty of that is that our seepage drains still drain well.
Good seepage drains prevent cane paddocks becoming waterlogged, and that means less nutrient is being lost. With a strong root base, the river cherries help soak up any nutrient in surface runoff and at the same time keep the stream well shaded.
Because it's well shaded, the water gets from the inside valley across into the Mulgrave River with very little sunlight hitting it, and because it can stay cooler, the dissolved oxygen stays higher, and so it provides a great habitat for birds and fish and aquatic life, just for the fact that it's as cold as it is.
There are other less obvious benefits too. Trees create a barrier to stop farm machinery accidentally slipping into drains, and they create a habitat for native animals.
It's amazing how a little corridor like this, you get biodiversity sneaking in everywhere. You know, it takes a bit of maintenance every second year or so. We'll get the hedges in, and they hedge this right back so that we've got plenty of area to turn our harvesters and tractors around.
For the Rossi family, productive cane farming and good environmental stewardship go hand in hand. That's why they're encouraging other growers to get involved in Landcare projects that benefit farmers and the environment.
It's a matter of pride working with these trees and Landcare for us. We often get bagged being farmers about the environment and what we're doing to it, and we like to think we're doing our bit, and we encourage everyone to do their bit. It's not that hard, and you'll get a lot out of it.
Well, I think anyone that's had Landcare works done on their land, it changes the way they look at things, and they can see the benefits, and they makes them feel better about being part of the community and being environmentally aware. So, you know, the bottom line is we all want to be productive farmers. I think with that comes that need to be a steward and look after your patch and do your best.